So I have been receiving quite a few comments that AMC stock is going to new all-time highs. Now here in this video, we will discuss just that, what it will take for AMC stock to hit new all-time highs, and whether or not this is a possibility. And I'll say right off the bat, it is of course a possibility. Anything is a possibility, but there is certain things that will need to happen. Some of those things are going to happen regardless of what AMC does. Some of those things are going to hopefully be in regards to what AMC actually does. So we're going to get into that here in this video. I do want to share with you guys some pretty big breaking news as well that happened yesterday with the Fed. It looks like the Fed has started to flip in a pretty big way, and this is going to be likely a positive for our markets coming tomorrow. And I would imagine this could actually start a green streak for our markets, and that's going to be great news for AMC stock. So we're going to get into all of this information. Hit that like button and subscribe to the channel if this is your first time here. Well, consider sticking around a while. Now, AMC stock is hitting multi-year lows, so it feels rough right now. The reason for this is obviously the start of 2024 has not been a great start. We know that. It's been very, very rough. 4 red days in a row for 2024. I mean, this is one of the worst starts to any given year that we have ever seen. Now, the markets, technically speaking, are getting over their britches, if you will, on selling, right? There was a lot of profit taking in the first week of 2024. People want to extend those taxes, that tax burden out for what, 14 months from now, 15 months from now, when that bill would actually come due. If they're selling stock now for tax year of 2024, that those taxes are not going to come due until, April or so of 2025. So they are definitely doing a bit of that. Now you're also getting dilution with AMC, right? AMC's CEO has been diluting AMC at ultra low prices. Now, dilution is not always a bad thing. It's not. But when it's happening at numbers that just don't make sense, that don't move the needle for AMC, the markets do not look at that as a positive thing, okay? They just don't. And that's what's been happening. Now, if we do get to all-time highs, it is because one thing happened. We no longer are seeing dilution, at least for a period of time with AMC. Or we get a period of no dilution, followed by a period with dilution, and AMC stock at higher prices. Because if AMC could pay off its debt, or good chunks of the debt coming due in 2026, AMC stock, might actually do good off of dilution, right? Which sounds just crazy, right? Dilution could be a good thing. Yeah, it actually can be. And in the past, I mean, these big rallies were really caused by dilution, right? When Adam Aaron, AMC was able to raise capital and to extend out their lifetime as a company and to not go bankrupt, you had ferocious rallies. Now, I don't think we're quite there yet where the markets are like, selling off AMC in massive numbers because of bankruptcy concerns, but it will definitely start. And maybe part of that has already started, but it will definitely start if AMC stock stays at ultra low prices. So a lot of people don't really understand what's going on right now with AMC. So that's what is going on right now. Now, the longer AMC does not make an announcement to not dilute shareholders, the worse off this is going to be. The lower AMC stock goes, the harder it is going to be to rally, right? And that's just based on, percentages and, mathematical probabilities. Now, I think there's a couple other things to consider as well. AMC stock, if you look at the short interest over here on Ortex, it's 8%. I don't think any of us believe those numbers at all. I personally think the short interest is hundreds of percents, right? Now, can I quantify that? Well, unfortunately not, right? I can only say that. I don't know with certainty if that is actually true. That's just from what I've seen and what I've witnessed over the past couple of years. I don't think shorts have covered on short positions. So that means that AMC stock, could be heavily shorted right now. And a lot of Wall Street does not know. So the only way that ultimately shorts start to cover massive numbers and drive AMC stock higher, like you would think if the stock was hundreds of percent sold short going through a short squeeze, would be if the stock rallies. So without the stock rallying, I mean, nothing is going to happen with the shorts. The shorts are going to stay in their positions. I think a lot of shorts are in this till the very end, and I just think that's proven at this point, right? But again, I can't quantify that at 8% short interest off your float. But we know shorts can just use options. They can use different strategies to not report on their short positions. Now, the second aspect of that is we are going to have that rule from the SEC and FINRA coming into effect here, hopefully pretty soon, where we will start to get aggregated short data for different stocks, like who is short in AMC, what collateral is being used to short AMC, how long they've been short in AMC, who's lending out stock so others can be short. We're going to get a lot of different information, hopefully here soon, in the first 1 to 2 months of this year. Hopefully by February we're starting to get some data, and that's I think something that will be very important, right? Just to give us a better understanding of who's behind what and what's going on here. Could be more pressure applied at that point as well. So we'll see. I don't think it's going to expose all of the shorts necessarily, because the ones that we're not reporting probably are not going to get reported in this data anyways, but it will tell us who is short, who's doing what in AMC, and I think that's important. Now, the other aspect that is vital to sending AMC stock to new all-time highs is just activity around AMC. And I know this one sounds stupid, right? Activity, like what does that mean? You need people to know about a stock to be able to buy a stock. If you don't know about a stock, you can never buy the stock. And I think basically everyone in the markets knows about AMC, and they specifically know about the rally and what happened in 2020 and 2021. Specifically 2021. So there's a lot of people that know about AMC that would potentially be buyers of the stock if the stock did start to rally, or at least traders of the stock if the stock started to rally. So that's great, right? Some random stock out there. It's hard for people to buy some of these stocks because not everyone knows about them, right? Unless you're in a Discord or some other outlet that is seeing, big runners, the average person's not going to be able to buy the stock because they're not going to know about the stock. That's not the case with AMC. Now, again, the other aspect is the activity around AMC. So message volume and sentiment are things that I've been looking at on StockTwits because I think it's a pretty good outlet or gauge to get a sense of how people are feeling. Now, message volume, I think, is the most important for that aspect. Sentiment goes up and down. People change their emotions and feelings and sentiment by the minute, right? But message volume, if people are just simply writing a message under AMC, that's great. And the message volume on Friday was extremely high at 95. Well, I guess that might technically be today. Message volume was 95. On Friday, the message volume was 100. So a lot of people talking about AMC right now. A lot of people posting about AMC right now. So that's pretty interesting. Now, the sentiment is extremely bearish. So actually, when a lot of people are writing these posts, they're actually pretty bearish on AMC. And I think that can flip when obviously AMC stock starts to flip as well. So message volume's most important. We have that. Sentiment, again, if you start to get that extremely bullish as well, that is what you want to see. But when the stock's hitting new multi-year lows, I wouldn't expect anything different, right? Now, let's get into some of this breaking news that is happening over this weekend, and this is substantial. Fed Logan says the Fed should begin discussion on slowing its asset runoff. She goes on to say that in my view, we should slow the pace of runoff as on RRP balances approach a new low. Or a low level. Logan said Saturday in prepared remarks for an event in San Antonio. Normalizing the balance sheet more slowly can actually help to get a more efficient balance sheet in the long run by smoothing redistribution and reducing the likelihood that we'd have to stop prematurely. So, what's she talking about? RRP. Well, you probably get this. Reverse repurchase agreements. This market, or this pool of money, is now down to $694 billion. If this thing gets to zero, there can be no more balance sheet runoff because there will be no one else to buy $90 billion of bonds every single month from the Fed. Because how it works is essentially banks, when they get your deposits, they're allowed to do two things. They're allowed to buy bonds. They're allowed to give out loans. They're not allowed to buy stocks. They're not allowed to buy real estate. They're not allowed to advertise or do anything else with customer deposits. Those two things. Loans to people, businesses, consumers, and they are allowed to buy treasuries because they are backed by the government. So this pool of money now being, down to $694 billion off of where it was at $2.2 trillion back in even the beginning of 2023. The banks are starting to run out of money to buy all of these treasuries from the Fed. And this is technically this is where banks park their excess money, the reverse repurchase agreement program. So this excess money, it's the only thing they really can, do is ultimately buy treasuries. Not a lot of people are actually taking out loans right now. Loan growth is at very, very low levels. So there's not a whole lot the banks can do with their excess money. So buying the excess bonds from the Fed is basically the only thing that they can do at this point. So yeah. That's important to know. Now, historically, when the Fed is increasing their balance sheet, stocks do very well. Basically, any period of time the Fed has increased their balance sheet, stocks did really well. From 2012, the balance sheet went from $2.8 trillion to 2014 to $4.5 trillion. Well, what happened? The S&P 500 rallied about 81% during this period of time, right? It was pretty much up to the right, almost in a straight line. Basically, any other period of time when the balance sheet was increasing, stocks did well. When the balance sheet starts to decrease, the stocks do not do well. Even more recently, from 2022 until now, the balance sheet, besides the banking crisis in March, has been decreasing, now down to $7.6 trillion. It's been decreasing from about $9 trillion around April 6th of 2022, and it peaked. So if you think about the average stock, think about PayPal. It was a $300 stock. Now it's a $58 stock. If you think about Fubo, it was a $40 stock. And now it's a $3 stock. If you think about SoFi, it was a $25 stock. Now it's an $8 stock. If you think about all of these different names, Tesla was a $400 stock at one point. Now it's a $230 stock. The average stock out there has not done well. The reason the indexes have done well is because the money has been pooled from those other areas into big tech for justifiable reasons, right? If we go into a recession, Would you rather be in Microsoft or would you rather be in SoFi, right? Obviously, you'd rather be in Microsoft. So for those obvious reasons, Magnificent Seven was very popular. Now, this could actually cause a broadening out of the markets, can take money from the sidelines and pull it back into some of the stocks that maybe have not performed well. The balance sheet is still going to be getting reduced, but not a $90 billion drag a month on the economy and on borrowing costs. So maybe this gets dropped down to 20 or maybe $30 billion. That would seem just justifiable to me. That would be a sustainable pace to reduce the balance sheet every month. But we'll obviously see. I will tell you, this should be seen as good news for our markets coming tomorrow. And we'll see what ultimately does happen, but that would be my expectation. So if all of these things come together, we get no recession, we get money coming back into our markets, we get the Fed reducing their balance sheet, at least at a slower pace, or maybe stopping doing that. AMC's fundamentals continue to get better. AMC continues to be a profitable company. Adam Aron commits to not diluting shareholders for a period of time. AMC then starts to dilute shareholders at higher prices and collecting billions of dollars, substantially paying down their debt load. AMC as a company is only a $1 billion company as far as market cap. If AMC could pay off portions of their debt and have billions in the bank, I mean, the valuation would be extremely low on AMC right now. Would be almost a no-brainer to buy AMC. That's how you get a situation where short sellers are in a lot of trouble and they start to cover, and more people start to buy options in AMC. More retail starts to buy more shares. Maybe hedge funds and institutions start to buy some shares and really push AMC stock up as well. That is a specific scenario that I could see that could send AMC to all-time highs, or just much higher levels in general, the MOAS, if you will. So that's the parameters for this. I think without one of those things happening, it's going to be hard. Now, I think the thing that we cannot control, which is the Fed and what happens with market liquidity, I think that comes back into our markets, and that's a positive thing. And I think AMC stock rallies off of that alone. But if the markets are like, hey, Adam Aron's just going to dilute AMC stock again, I mean, what's that going to do? Nothing's going to happen, right? Shorts are not going to cover on short positions fictitiously for no reason. So let me know what you guys think about this down below in the comment section. Hit the like button as well as subscribe to the channel. Thank you for watching. Enjoy the rest of your day, and I will see you in the next one.